Today is Wednesday, February 26th, 2025. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor 48, Week 1.
It begins again. This episode is titled The Get to Know You Game. That was spoken by Say. It was regarding the two hoochie mamas, Stephanie and Mary.
Hoochie mamas.
That's how she described them. She was not getting along with the other two women on her tribe right out of the gate for some reason. Okay, what did you think about how it started with the cast reaction as each of them learned that they had made it on to season 48?
Well, they've done that on other shows, but I don't remember them doing so much of that on Survivor before, have they?
It's not something that I recall.
I know other shows have done it.
Yeah.
But because I guess it would be good. It's good to see their reaction, I guess, just to get to know them a little bit more in the beginning. But since we've already kind of done some of that with the Jabik show, it didn't mean a whole lot to me.
Yeah, not as much. I guess my only takeaway was watching the contrast between Mitch, his real emotional reaction, and Joe's very emotional reaction. I mean, they were all showing lots of emotion, but there seems like there was a little bit of a contrast between the beginning and the end there. And you got that big reaction from Joe. And I couldn't help think, oh, I wonder if something else is going on with him. Because of the way he said it, his kids were going to be proud of him, and he really needed this. And I was like, what is that code for?
Well, obviously there are some things going on in his life.
Yeah.
So
interesting, that undercurrent there from the beginning with him. And then we get the classic ride-in confessionals when they're in the boats coming to the beach. And starts off with Joe giving his fire captain energy. And then we get Say declaring that this South Philly girl is in Fiji and she has no filter. And I immediately thought, that's exactly why you won't win. A declaration like that. I don't know how that's going to work for her, but that seemed to be foreboding. It's like, well, you're not going to fit in well in these high-stress, tiny environments with these small tribes if you've got no filter. You're going to make enemies quick. And then we get the recap of Eva, the physicist engineer, and oh yeah, she plays hockey with the guys. And Cedrek says that he's going to ball out, and that's what his kids told him to say, although he doesn't quite understand what that means.
I don't either.
Just going all out in the game. Okay. And Charity believes that her experience as a flight attendant has been the perfect practice for Survivor, and David declares that he wants to be a hero. We got hero talk from several people. There was David, Shauhin, and Kevin, I think, talked about being a hero.
Well, I'm always very curious when they feel the need to be a hero. You know, then it's like, okay, give me the rest of the story, because that is a story if you need to feel like a hero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, David seemed particularly obsessed with the idea. He comes back to it several times in describing himself.
Mr. Ford Nipples, David.
He jumps all the way to the end. Scooter, what are you doing?
Hey.
Shauhin declares that he's here to eat everybody's lunch. He's going to be a lunchroom bully. He is pumped up when he gets off the boat. And Star did not want to get wet, but her boat captain, demonstrating the role of luck and things outside your control from the very beginning of the game, didn't pull all the way up onto the beach like the other captains did. And so he guaranteed that everybody had to jump out into the seawater and get their shoes soaked. And Probst had a big reaction to them cheering when the game started. He said that might be the best initial reaction ever.
I don't know. I was surprised by that because usually people are very enthusiastic when they hit the beach. So I didn't.
It didn't seem
Like-
particularly special
I didn't
or different.
think so. I thought they usually are.
Right.
People are usually excited to get there, and after sitting around for a week, can't talk to anybody. They're ready to go.
Yeah, he had his typical speech that he practices before the game begins. Or there's 18 strangers answered the call, and he kept forcing that theme of a call to action, and even with his questions to them.
Well, and they had to focus on that once they showed all their reactions to being told they were on Survivor. I think then they had to lean into it a little more.
Maybe. All it did for Stephanie was make her snort laugh more, though.
She did. She did do that.
And I'll point out once again that at least with how it came through on RTV, the mix of the music and behind him, which should be behind him when he's talking, it should be well below him, but was messed up. So they do this every season where they'll have the background music way too loud.
And let us know if it's just our TV. 'Cause
Well, I know I've heard other people
Yeah.
comment on it,
Yeah.
and I see it in
and
the
it's not just the
subreddit
show
forums.
Either, so
Yeah. Okay. So we learned that the tribe names mean what the tribe names mean. That is. So Civa is the sun, Vula is the moon, and Lagi is the sky.
all right. Well, thanks for that.
No futzing around. Right into the marooning challenge. There's mud because Jeff loves mud. He thinks it symbolizes their birthing into the game. These are his words, the way he's described
Get down
it.
and dirty from
So
the
yes,
start.
they're going to have to crawl under a net into the mud.
Who can handle it and who can?
And the one thing I noted too when the challenge began was that most of these people hadn't learned from some previous Survivor players to use that buff to cover their face so their eyes and nose and mouth don't get filled with mud. Because there was a lot of people really struggling that they just got completely into it.
Well, even if you do know, sometimes in the excitement of the moment, you just forget everything you ever knew.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that seem to be like diving right into the sand. So they got to go under the net, through the mud, and then they've got to go retrieve a chest that Prope said weighed hundreds of pounds. And there's 3 of these chests that they're going to have to retrieve. So they go out in pairs to bring it back.
We were right, medical was just a complete psych.
Red herring?
Yep. There was no medical.
Well, there was, but it wasn't in the episode.
Okay, well, they made it look like somebody really got hurt in the...
In the previews, yeah. And lots of people were falling down.
Yeah.
Those chests were so heavy. There were several of the women I think it pulled them down to the ground. So it was really quite the ordeal. So they got to go out and get those 3 chests, and then they got to climb up and retrieve a key, and then the key will unlock the chests, and then they get 3 sandbags, one out of each chest, and then they throw the sandbags up onto these high pedestals that sit at 3 different heights to win. And the winning tribe gets their pot, a machete, and the flint.
Were you surprised your boy Kevin got hurt right off the bat there?
Yes. Yeah. I thought maybe he had dislocated his shoulder the way he was talking about it. So I thought we might see one of those Stephanie LaGrossa snap it back in and keep going kind of moments, but that didn't
Nobody's as tough as Stephanie.
Yeah, that did not happen.
Pop it back in and keep going.
Well, Lagi jumped out to an early lead, the Purple Tribe, and they just never looked back. They worked very well together, retrieving the chest and then getting a key, and then Thomas and Starr just knocked that out.
Yeah, I
throwing the
didn't
sandbags.
see that one coming. I don't think so.
Cedrek was struggling. He could not get up that wall to get up there to help get the key. He never made it up, as far as I could see.
Huh. That doesn't bode so well, because I imagine they'll have to do quite a bit of climbing in the early part of the season anyway. But hopefully he'll have a good, strong team and alliance, and they will help him with it, pull him up.
So Vula and Civa, each have to choose one person to go on the voyage, and those two people are going to face off in a challenge to try to win their supplies, and they end up picking Kevin for Vula, the green tribe, and Kyle for Civa, the orange tribe.
Our USB.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Head to head.
Yeah, that was awesome. Kevin's gets a quick confessional on the way out there, and he said that's a worse start than he could have hoped for. Now he's looking for a recovery so he can redeem himself in his tribe's eyes.
Well, it's worse for me because my USB lost, so oh well.
Loggy, day one at the Loggy camp, they are celebrating. They won the marooning challenge, and of course now it's time to wash all that mud off.
Oh, I don't know how Kyle and Kevin could stand it to wait that long until after the other challenge, especially with it all over their eyes and lashes, and that's just wrong.
Yeah.
That could really hurt your eyes.
I liked how Thomas was waiting. He was listening to everybody's stories. He said he wanted to filter his own story to make sure it fit in. So he was thrilled when Eva went first and other people started chiming in.
But he tells us he can bond with anyone. He has a great social game.
And then he ends up surprising himself because he bonds with Shauhin and Joe. So they set up a men's alliance right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And he makes a really strong connection, it looks like, with Bianca.
Bianca, yeah. And they really seem to click with each other.
Yeah.
I mean, fast.
He said he was getting good vibes from Bianca. And Bianca, cut to her reaction, she's talking about how it is such a social game and that she was thrilled to bond with Thomas, and she really wanted to find her day one that would work all the way through the game. So that might be Thomas for Bianca.
Well, and Mitch wants to go for a walk around, and they're like, hey, their tribe is really strong as a unit.
Mm-hmm.
So they're feeling pretty good about it.
Yep. Chrissy says she's ready to make some bonds. David declares that he can make fire with just bamboo, so it'll be okay if they don't get their flint. And we get hero talk from David again.
Yeah, and Chrissy talks about how she can really work with a lot of different personalities, being a firefighter and fire chief.
David says he could be a hero or a villain, and we're going to find out as the game progresses. But he's really counting on his charm.
He doesn't know.
Yeah, right.
What he's going to have to do.
He's definitely got some serious try-hard vibes coming off, in my assessment.
I kind of like him, though. He seems like a nice guy so far, you know. I mean, yes, he has an ego, but I don't know. He seems nice anyway. Usually the big ego is kind of a turnoff, but I don't know. I like him so far anyway.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't get too carried away with it.
Well, he seemed like he got progressively more and more as the episode worked its way on. So cut over to Vula on day one, and Cedrek introduces himself as the butt doctor.
Yep.
And he's acknowledging that they are indeed the underdog team. So Vula's in for some physical struggle.
Yeah, they all seem surprised that Kevin had an injury right off. So maybe he did do the right thing in going back and volunteering himself to go on the challenge, and it helped him because he won it. So kind of take that taste out of their mouth.
It's worth the risk, potentially.
Yeah.
And Cedrek didn't comment on his performance in the challenge. He just noted that Kevin was injured. So that was his focus. What did you think about Stephanie declaring her approach to the game?
Well, she had kind of talked about that a little bit pre-game because she's used to being in charge and stepping up and telling people what to do, and she's really trying very hard not to do that. And I think that's what she means by sitting on her hands, not jumping in there, not doing that, not making enemies with that, though she kind of seemed to anyway, because I think Say was just after her regardless.
Yes, they came out hard. She was looking, she said, looking for the core four, working hard for that.
Yeah. Well, what I thought was really interesting was Say was quite emotional talking about all the really strong women who influenced her life and in her life. And you would think she would be drawn toward strong women.
The female
and yet
energy.
She just went straight to the men and bypassed the women, ready to vote them out immediately.
The way the edit presented it to us, she tried with Mary and Stephanie, but
not very much.
In what Say had declared, where she was demonstrating how she described herself, she came out very hard and was looking for that alliance. And when they didn't respond, she pivoted over to the guys, and they were receptive, which is how you want to be. Early in the game, it's like yes to everything, yes to everyone.
You bet.
Kind of keep the doors open.
Though that can hurt you too.
It can. You can get caught up by it, but I would... 9 times out of 10, being very open and engaging and going with the flow is the better call. Okay, we cut to the journey challenge there on day 1. Kyle's talking about as they come up to the beach for the challenge, it's the worst feeling losing that marooning challenge. And they learn that they're going to have to pull a rope to find the machete and then retrieve the machete, and then do whatever it takes to retrieve the pot. And then there are glass jugs that they have to fill with water using the pot to float a cork with a key on it, and then the key will unlock the flint. And whoever gets that flint first wins.
No more glass jugs. That didn't work so well, at least for Kyle.
It was a nice contrast in the challenge where you could see Kevin's approach versus Kyle's approach, and basically how it just sort of traded back and forth, how it worked to their advantages, worked against them, and then worked for them. I liked how that all played out.
I know, I really thought that Kyle was going to win for a while there. And then
he fell behind in the machete portion of it. Kevin's approach worked much better, but then he basically ended up in the same area with Kevin, realized what he needed to do, because he was kind of flailing around and panicking prior to that.
Yeah, he wasn't seeing a clear path.
Right. But then he kind of brute forced getting the pot down from the big bamboo that was buried there on the beach. So he hacked away with his machete, and it looked like Kevin was trying to finesse it more. But Kyle was able to crack the bamboo enough that he could just break it and get the pot down. And so he got started first, but like you were talking about, when it came to filling up the big glass jugs with water to float the cork and the key up, he made a mistake and slammed the pot into the jug and promptly took himself out of the challenge.
Yep.
What did you think about his decision to go ahead and help Kevin?
Why not? But it didn't cost him a thing, and, you know, you might get a little goodwill from Kevin later in the game. So why not?
Plus, it just got him off the beach quicker, too.
Yes.
I think you may have more than one motivation. You're like, get me out of here. Let me help him so this will be over.
Well, I'm sure it was embarrassing for...
Okay, cut back to the Vula tribe at their beach, and Kevin returns triumphant.
With supplies.
May didn't lose any time. She just got right to it and made a fire.
Well, after Stephanie said, okay, who can make fire? I'm thinking, Stephanie, why can't you make fire?
I think Mary was already working on it.
Oh, yeah. She showed her gifts in making fire, so...
And we get to see a bond begin between her and Kevin.
Yeah, they're vibing pretty good.
She described Kevin as their tribe's golden retriever.
Okay.
It's kind of denigrate him a little bit with that, I think. It's like our dopey guy.
Well, and Say seems, Say seems so, I don't know, almost brusque when she approached Kevin to come and talk with her and Cedrek and Justin.
Yep.
It's like, okay, I would be a little bit like, what's happening? Why is she acting this way? What'd I do? What are they going to say to me?
So Kevin's thrilled. He's got this bond with Mary that he's established, and now he gets pulled into an already made alliance where he's for, that's the majority.
Yep.
Things couldn't be going better for my USB Kevin.
At the moment, that is true. Okay, back over to the Orange Tribe.
Civa.
David and Mitch are on a walk, and they started finding signs, dolphins and the letter S and all kinds of different things. So they start looking for clues.
Yeah, David actually pointed it out to Mitch. He showed him what was going on. He had already observed it.
Yeah.
And then there's black string wrapped over, like you were saying, the letters. So they unwrap the string to uncover a letter. And Kyle returns and promptly lies to him. Instead of telling him he was a lawyer, he tells him that he was a teacher. I think he told the truth about the challenge.
Yeah, he did.
But he did start with a lie.
Okay, here's the thing, though. David completely believed him and trusts Kyle's story as the truth.
Absolutely telling the truth,
but he
David
didn't
says.
seem to catch the part where he was lying about. Of course, he wasn't really lying because he was a teacher. He's just not necessarily right now, but he was. So that would make it more believable.
And then Mitch gets him going again, chasing down those animal symbols. Or David does, rather.
Yeah, David. And he's sharing the clues with everyone, which seemed to make people trust him a little more, I think.
Maybe. It seemed like it made Mitch anxious. He's like, our tribe's all over the place, going on this goose hunt. We don't have shelter.
Well, that's what
we're not going to have fire. We don't have supplies. Yeah, he was a little more concerned with how the day was going to end.
Yep, they did need to get camped together, but you can't be the one going, you shouldn't be doing that.
Right. No, you have to go with it, even if it's. I know that was something I thought about for me if I were to ever make it out there, because I still have, if I'm working outside at the end of the day, right at dusk, I'll have a reaction from when I went out and did the field skills class. And, when we would get to the end of the day, because that first day that happened and none of us were prepared.
Oh, and you just about froze literally that night.
Yeah. And so that process that you would go through to establish your shelter, to make sure you could stay warm during the night, was something that you paid real close attention to. It get to a certain point in the day and you needed to focus on that. And so I could understand why he would feel compelled.
Yeah.
But you'd have to, he did the right thing. He just went with the flow. Good job, Mitch.
Okay, back over to Loggy, the Purple Tribe. Eva brings a lot of bamboo up for that. I guess she was bringing it to the guys so they could do the building portion.
Yeah, she said she's demonstrating her worth to the tribe by getting bamboo, and talks a little more about how she manages the autism
and that she's a very direct person.
Mm-hmm. But she can't tell when someone's lying necessarily.
Yeah,
and the best thing that she can do right now for her, I guess, anxiety is fixate on that bamboo, and she does quite the job bringing that in.
Yeah.
It's not like necessarily organized. She's just kind of throwing it around in a big pile, scattered, but she's bringing it back in there.
And Joe jumps in there and gets fire going. And he tells us he wants to play a really loyal game.
Wants to change the game by taking a loyal crew to the end.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
And he wants people to think that he's a really good guy.
Where's the lack of confidence coming from, though?
I don't know.
I mean,
there's something under the surface with that.
Things. So we don't know yet what's driving him, but I'm with you.
Something's off.
That he needs to do that.
Yeah.
Not just wants to do it. He seems to need to do it.
He's like on a redemption quest or something there.
And that's a tough...
It's not impossible, but you got to get everybody on board to do that.
Well,
that's why you don't ever see it done.
Someone has to go if you lose.
Right.
So unless he's going to volunteer himself...
You're setting yourself up to fail if that's your objective.
Yeah. But I think Eva's intuition was obviously good in choosing Joe to be the one that she explained things to about her condition and that, who she trusted. And I mean, he's the ideal person in my mind for her to count on. And I think he'll take it very seriously, probably too seriously.
Yeah, I made a quick note. Neither may be suited to win.
Yeah. Well, especially since he's already said, even if it cost him the game, I'm like, okay. That's a little, I think, over the top if you're there for you and your children. But
Back to Vula. We're on day 2. Stephanie tells us she's working on relationships and she's really focused on having authentic conversations.
And tells us she's a business lady, so.
Time will tell if this strategy pays off. Indeed it will.
Yep. And
meanwhile, Sai is rallying is rallying her alliance to go hunt for the idol. She's anxious, wants to get looking.
Yep, she's playing really hard.
Cut back to Mary and Stephanie, and they're talking about how Say is not trustworthy from what they can tell. So that's their vibe on her. Say tells us that she trusts Justin, and bingo, finds a beware advantage.
Well, and she meant to find that before those 2 girls did. She really wanted to just completely cut them out from the get-go. Like I said, which I thought was odd, being that she had such strong women in her life, and you'd think she would lean more into that, but guess not. So I don't think we have all that story.
She's about establishing her dominance.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what she learned from this strong women lesson.
But interesting that she does trust Justin. And trust him with the knowledge, right off the bat.
Didn't hesitate, immediately opened to the beware advantage, and promptly lost her vote.
Well, and she didn't have a choice but share that thing, because she said she was no good at math and she was never going to solve it.
Yes, she was clear with production that she did not want math. And here we go. Here's some math for her.
So they made certain they gave you some.
So she adapted and pivoted, like you said, really quick and said, hey, where's Kevin? He likes puzzles. Let me get Kevin.
Well, it ended up being Cedrek that really... But she figured out the whole color thing. I had just said, it's got to have something to do with the colors. All the colors. And then she said it. And so they managed to figure it out. It had something to do with that, and Cedrek helped her out, and voila, first idol of the season.
Over to Loggy there on day 2. Shauhin opens it. Was that his first coconut? They were celebrating like it was.
Yeah.
And Star tells us she wants an advantage and she is ready to hunt for it.
But she did the same thing. Just disappeared for an
Classic.
hour.
Yeah.
That classic thing that they say, do not do this. And then, of course, they all started
Everybody
noticing.
noticed. Yeah. Shauhin said, Star is in trouble. It would hurt to lose her, but we may have to.
So what did you think about the California Girls Alliance?
Yeah, sure. That works. That's great. It was interesting watching that conversation between Thomas and Shauhin, and they were trying to decide, hey, who do we reach out to for our 4th, Eva or Bianca? And Thomas is wanting to influence it, but he wanted to make sure it wasn't clear that that's what he was trying to do.
Toward her.
And this is where we see Eva reaching out. She tells us that she really felt the need to find at least one ally. And so she tells Joe about her autism, and she coaches him on how he can help her if she gets stuck in a cycle.
Now that is really smart. Really.
She came out there with a plan, I think, for doing that. And she, like you said, she picked a good guy.
Yeah.
Because Joe said, she's with me now. I got her. And it tears him up thinking about it. And he's willing to, it appears, to sacrifice his own game. So this guy's already thinking about taking himself out to help somebody else.
Yeah.
So that'll establish he's a good guy and make his kids proud.
Setting that kind of thing up, I had that happen once when I had someone who wanted and needed to come in for massage, but because they had multiple personalities, nobody was wanting to take them, and they approached me, but she came in and explained, this is who, if I zone out, you can contact this person. This person will talk to you. And this person will do this and this. And, we both took a chance, and it worked out great. And I was able to help her. But it's because of that same kind of thing where she gave me good guidance in what to do. Because I said, look, I don't have any experience in this, but we worked it out, and it was a good thing. So hopefully this will be too, because she was so open and giving him some direction before she needed it.
Worked on Joe for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, over to Civa, staying with day 2. So day 1, day 2, we got the marooning challenge, we got the journey for the Flint, but it's really about this tribe time. So we're just going to bounce around and get insights to how the social elements are developing and how people are progressing. We see David talking, and he's got this theory that you can figure out who people are by their favorite, having them name their favorite movie, the car they drive, and how they like their steak cooked.
I thought it was funny that he was so upset that Chrissy hadn't watched Nottingham Hill or Nottingham Hill, whatever. I don't know that I've watched it, so he'd be horrified at me too. But I thought, oh, that's funny. And that Kamilla and Kyle had something in common.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, big bonding moments over there.
Yeah.
Watching, what was it, Holes, and the community that their families were from.
Well, and there must have been more, because she said for us to have so many similarities. So I thought, wow, I didn't see that coming, but good on them.
And we see, this is, here's the real villain, at least in episode 1. We see Kamilla and Charity talking, and Charity goes there. They're having some strategic talk, and so Charity says, if we lose that first challenge, I would be okay losing Kyle. And Kamilla just jumps all over that. She said, here we go. I got something I can work with. And she takes it to Kyle. And Kyle's just thrilled, like we were just talking about, over that bond. And he sees her as the strategic balance to his impulsive approach to the game and I guess life in general. And lets him know that Charity's bringing up his name, and then they take that to Chrissy. So now 3 people are talking about it and throwing Charity under the bus.
I like what Chrissy says. She don't talk to me anyway.
Yeah, so it just builds. So they end up pulling in David on that too. So Charity's goose is cooked.
Well, and they then, not only that, they formed an alliance of 4 because of it. So at least for now.
Well, and Kamilla created all of that.
Yep. So good on her. I had, as you know, counted her out right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
All right, back over to the Green Tribe, to Vula. And Say needs to solve that puzzle. This is where Cedrek helps her out. And Cedrek likes it because she shared so much, and it makes him feel comfortable about his alliance with her, him and the guys. Being aligned with her, so okay.
Yeah, it was and that's a good contrast between Cedrik's reaction and Kevin's. So Kevin's happy to be brought in on it, but he's also looking at Say as a threat because she's got it.
Yeah.
And she makes that big connection that you were talking about between the colors and the animals, and that leads them to figuring out what the letters are. And then when they share the letters with Cedrek, he puts it together, and the code there is listen. So she dials up LISTEN, and she gets a hidden immunity idol, and she's got her vote back.
Yep.
So as far as we know right now, they're the only tribe who has that. Okay, day 3, time for the immunity challenge. You're going to have to climb up and down a big net ramp, and then one of the castaways from each tribe is going to have to untie the war club and then smash a mask, and that when the mask gets broken, that'll drop a crate. I think that was a tribute to Yowman. That crate.
Did it fall on the corner or something?
Yeah, and it busted, and then the key came out.
Well, then maybe so.
And then they can unlock the big sled, and then they've got to move that sled over obstacles, and then they've got to pull it up a ramp up to the end, and inside the sled are some puzzle pieces, and then they have 2 of the players have to solve a logo puzzle for the Survivor 48 logo.
Yep, and the first place gets a large toolkit, and the second gets a small one.
So everybody makes it through pretty well. Joe, Kevin, and David end up on the war club, with Joe jumping out to a big lead. And I noticed David swung it he swung it so it went flat.
Kind of claimed it.
That's why it didn't do anything, because the edge, it would be like if you took an axe and turned it so that the flat of the blade, not the edge, hit a tree. That's what he did with his first swing. He was so excited that anyway, they end up making up that time that they lost doing that. They seemed to work really well together, and just like Mitch had said, they were a physically strong tribe, and it really showed with them moving the sled all the way to the top. They ended up there first.
They moved ahead by that, which...
got ahead of Loggy, got ahead of Purple there.
Yep, sure did. So...
Charity and Kamilla start working on the puzzle, but then they lose momentum. And we see Thomas and Bianca catching up. And Kevin and Stephanie are doing pretty good too.
Yeah, I thought Thomas and Bianca worked really well together.
Yep.
So I guess they weren't kidding when they said they were vibing well.
Mm-hmm. It looked like Kevin and Stephanie were doing really good too. And I think they were 3 pieces away.
Yeah.
Anyway, Loggy got first. And then Charity and Kamilla end up getting second. They recover. Because it looked like Kevin and Stephanie were going to go blow by them there at first. But no, Vula ends up losing, and they're going to go to tribal council.
So it was kind of nice to see who they were putting in for puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
Because we never know who the puzzle people are.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly clear. I figured that Kevin was going to be for Vula, and I thought maybe Cedrek, but because Stephanie seemed to be a little out of sorts when she was up there.
Yeah.
She feels compelled to own that. She knows the spotlight's going to be on her.
Well, she didn't have to worry about it now.
So we come back from commercial to a huge school of fish and a giant manta ray.
Yep.
That was a really cool shot, wasn't it?
And then you
On
forgot
Vula Beach.
Announced you've got 1 week to do the cast votes for the first 4 questions for Survivor 50.
Mm-hmm.
Those who want to participate in that and have a say.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. He's going to let the fans decide a lot of the elements. And they're also giving away prizes where I think it was like 5 families, 5 groups of people, 5 tribes, I guess. Maybe that's a better way to say it. Or can win a trip to go out there while they're filming, which isn't too far away. That'll be in June, July. And so that would probably be at the beginning of it.
Doing 50? Have they already got 49?
49 and 50 are about to film.
Okay.
So
well, they're just
I was just saying it's months away. 49. Yeah, 49 is going to get a little bit of the short end because of the whole focus on 50.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay, back to the Vula camp. Stephanie owns up her failure in the puzzle, telling them she's sorry.
I didn't really say, oh, I'm mad at Stephanie for not finishing. And I'm like,
You know what I thought was odd was Stephanie saying, well, I feel like they really want to hear from me. I need to own the loss.
I think they did.
Maybe she was right. I don't know. It seemed a little full of herself to say it that way.
Well, yeah, and say talking about, I felt like she just wanted an opportunity to kind of bash on Stephanie by saying she doesn't listen to people. So, like she said, she holds grudges. So that was maybe her way of wanting to be able to express how she really felt.
Mm-hmm.
About her costing them the win after she worked so hard to get them there. Like, okay, Say.
Mary's not fooling around. She's ready to target Say.
Yeah.
We see Mary and Stephanie and Justin talking.
I really thought they might do it. I was actually hoping they would, but...
What'd you think about how Justin managed that? His stay in the middle plan.
Well... It could come back to bite him, but probably not since he's
I think that's the right play
side. Yeah.
for him at that point. It's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, if you upset the least amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
But at least until, he consulted with the other people to really see what was going to go down, for sure. But I really thought he and Kevin might get together on that, but oh well.
I liked what Kevin was wrestling with there too when we see Kevin and Stephanie and Mary and Justin talking about targeting Say, and Kevin's wrestling with that whole deal. Is he going to be with the Say Alliance or is he going to be with this Mary alliance because he's concerned that he wants to maintain that connection he's got. He feels that strong connection with Mary. So if he votes Stephanie out, he's worried that he's going to lose the Mary connection. Anyway, I like getting to see that part of it because trying to balance all those different factors for sure is part of what makes that so difficult.
No way.
And we see Justin and Kevin talking about how to manage the middle and how that means that they're in a good position.
Well, Say did say that Stephanie, she had a feeling that Stephanie was going to play the shot in the dark. And she was right.
Mm-hmm. When they get to tribal council. They didn't
show us any indication, but she must have seen it.
Yep. So tribal council there on night 3. Cedrek ends up with the first question. Probst hits him with the expectations versus the reality. How's your experience going? And Mary declares, she gets the same question, and she starts off by saying, well, we're really Team City folk. I like that. That was a good spin. And in terms of the reality, the not knowing who you can trust and how that weighs on you.
Yeah.
And that's when Stephanie chimes in and said, when she gets that trust is trust the number one thing from Probst, she said yes. And then she heads down the astrology path.
Oh, man.
Just that we're a very air sign heavy tribe.
Well, Cedrek seemed to react to that more than anyone.
No, Say had a huge reaction.
Well, Say did, but Cedrek did first. So.
Mm-hmm. What did you think about the back and forth between Say and Stephanie?
It was just kind of expected, and
Say definitely went on the attack.
Yeah.
Stephanie was not on the attack at all.
I don't think Say did herself any favors.
She was true to how she described herself from the get-go. No filter. The no filter thing is going to make the social game incredibly difficult for her.
Yep, I think so.
Because it can come across as cruel.
Hurt her somewhere along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I do. So, because if she loses, the guys, where they get split up, then I'd say she's in trouble already. Because, I don't know, it's just, and even like the next on with her grudges, I hold grudges. That's usually not a good sign.
Yeah, calling somebody an airhead.
Yeah.
That didn't do her any favors.
No, because if you'll call somebody an airhead, you'll call anybody an airhead.
What are you calling me when I'm not
exactly.
around? Yeah.
Okay, so I was thinking at first that, the vote for Say was Stephanie, but then I realized, oh no, it's not Stephanie. It had to be Mary because Stephanie didn't have a vote.
Say guessed correctly when she said Stephanie played her shot in the dark. I can feel it.
Yeah. So the guys stayed with Say, and that was that.
Yeah. Shot in the dark she was not safe, and Stephanie's voted out. I had her as not making the merge and had considered her as a first out vote, but I had thought the Civa tribe was going to lose. So I pivoted away, and I had her safe. So that one really hurt.
I think I had all of the girls on this tribe not making the merge.
Yeah.
I don't think I went back and changed that, but anyway.
Who do you think's got a better chance of making the merge, Mary or Say?
Well, it appears that Say would with her alliance, but I'm not convinced of it.
No.
I'm not convinced that she won't do something, or that once the guys, if she bullies them around a little bit or says things they don't like, they might just not trust that alliance and get rid of her before she gets a chance to use the idol on them and take them out.
I could easily see Kevin basically setting it up so it's like, you know what, let's trade Mary for Say. Mary's way more predictable. She's going to be more loyal.
And she doesn't have an idol.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe there's any way Say's going to use that idol for anybody but Say.
Right.
And I don't blame her for that.
Right.
But, and she could well use it against them too, so.
Because I can very easily see them losing again.
Yep, me too. All right, next on Survivor.
Well, big news. David has 4 nipples.
And he didn't seem to mind them laughing about it.
Yeah.
He highlights it, points it out himself.
Mm-hmm.
And
as you've already alluded to, Say declares that she holds grudges. And then we see Kevin with Justin and Cedrek saying she's dangerous. I got to think that's Say.
I would think so. I would say she's a lot more dangerous than Mary, so.
We see Star talking to Shauhin and Joe and saying she's plotting on my demise. And just before we see them talking, they cut to Eva, so we're supposed to think that she's saying that Eva is plotting on her demise.
Well, I would think, even though Star's a lot bigger person, Eva's very physically fit. So as long as she's doing well, I can't see them keeping Star for physical strength over Eva.
Well, you got Joe, who's already
Exactly.
championing Eva.
Yeah. So
And Thomas is
championing Bianca.
right. So Star would be out.
Yeah.
Even though they would all, regret that, not want that in the
She
physical
is
aspects
not
of
one of the California girls.
of the challenges. And who's Thomas talking about when he says we're gonna chop her head off?
Well, Eva said to Thomas, like, wait, what? So that must have been something she wasn't expecting.
I guess he's talking about Star.
I would assume so. And
Then we see Shauhin, and he's declaring this is full-blown sabotage. And then they cut to him running down a path.
Okay.
I
Well,
wonder.
a lot going on the Purple Tribe next week, looks like.
Definitely some drama on Purple.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, what was your overall on the premiere?
I enjoyed it as best I could.
Yeah, you're hurting a little bit.
Yeah.
I had surgery yesterday, so.
Yes, I did. Unfortunately, I kind of had 2 surgeries, one area. But anyway, it's just a tooth extraction, and then they found something they wanted to do biopsy on. So the tooth, was it yesterday or the day before?
Yesterday.
Oh, okay.
They put you under, so you're.
Yeah, they put
Little
me to
loopy.
sleep. Though I didn't go to sleep, but they put me to sleep. And I had to listen to them talk about hunting the whole time. But anyway, I have a lot of stitches, so that's not very comfortable, and the pain pills make me sleepy. So I'm as alert as I can be right now.
So for where you are and what it was, you enjoyed the premiere.
I did. I think I did. But how about you? You would have more to offer.
It was fine. I don't know that it was anything special, and there are definitely some characters to watch out for. And let's see, I guess my takeaway is watching some people mess up their game, or basically declare that they really got low chances of winning. That, I don't know. I think that affected my reaction a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Say's gonna, with her no filter. It's like, you know that about yourself. You know it enough that you can share that has been the case, but you can't do and choose to do nothing about it because this is a social game, and that's not going to serve you well at all. Yeah, you made it through this first hurdle, but I don't know how much further you'll go.
Yeah.
And then we get Joe willing to sacrifice himself for Eva, and whatever's going on with Joe.
Well, I guess I like Thomas and Bianca a little bit better than I thought I would. And I've always kind of liked Shauhin. I thought Joe was going to have some struggles, and I thought Star would as well. So that I'm not surprised. I was really surprised that Kevin struggled physically, and that Kyle didn't do any better than he did with his challenge.
Yeah, he was having a lot of trouble too, getting up that ramp.
Yep. That surprised me. I expected him to be in better condition, I guess. But anyway, and Charity, I think, I expected her to do well physically, but still not sure how well she'll do socially. So that didn't change. But anyway, I think
Kamilla really surprised me.
Yes, Kamilla did.
I'm looking forward to seeing how she does, because wow, she really orchestrated that turn on Charity, and it was rapid. I don't know if it'll stick, but she was quite happy with herself in pulling that off. You got other people like Thomas and David talking about the potential to be villains, and here's Kamilla. She just executes
Not
and demonstrates
hesitating to go
a little bit of villainy against Charity, at least. Yeah. And it seemed very successful.
Yeah. So I think we have a good season to look forward to and to learn a lot more about each of the players and how they intend to play this game. I don't think they know yet, as usual. They've got to get in there and figure it out a little bit first. You think you know everything, but hey, there's always more to learn.
How about a JSFL update?
I can do that. Okay, there are 39 people tied for first with 6 points.
Wow, 39 got them all right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Was it you or I? So.
Definitely not me.
55 people lost a safe point.
That's me.
You, yeah. At least I didn't do that. But 11 people lost their USB 24.
Oh,
Ouch.
yeah. That hurts.
And for the...
You're going to have plenty of time, though, to pick your next one.
That's right. There are 9 people in the side challenge this season. With 4 points, we have Jeremiah, Johnny, Justin, Lisa Ray, and Robert. With 3 points, we have Drew, Parker, Rebecca, and Stacy.
Yep. Not surprised. Okay, so who's the most popular USB?
Shauhin.
Shauhin.
58
Not surprised.
people choosing him as USB
Nice.
24.
Okay.
Joe came in second with 34. Then Kyle with 31. Charity with 24. That surprises me a little bit. Justin with 20. That actually doesn't surprise me. Cedrek with 19. Kevin with 17. Eva and Bianca and Mitch and Kamilla with 12. With 11, you've got Stephanie and Mary. 10 for Thomas. And David and Star both got 8. Chrissy got 6. And Say got 1.
Well, that'll be interesting if Say ends up winning.
Can't see it, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, that's our broad strokes of the recap. We're looking forward to hearing from you and what you thought of the premiere. If you'd like to join us in the next listener feedback show, you can call and leave a voicemail at 206-350-1547, toll free 844-643-8737. You can record an audio comment and attach it, or you can type it up in a quick text message and send it via email to joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Eastern time on Saturday, and we ask that you keep it in that 3-minute range so we can get everybody included there. Looking forward to hearing how your assessment of the Castaways changed after getting to see the premiere episode. Who's impressed you the most? Who do you think's playing the best? And who's in jeopardy of being voted out next? Anything else?
I can't think of anything.
All right. Have a good one.
Good night.